The competitive meta in Pokemon TCG Pocket is such that the best decks are the ones that have EX Pokemon. And it can be really difficult as a new player getting into the game when you just haven't pulled those EX cards yet because they're really rare. And it can be really demoralizing trying to compete when you don't have those cards in your collection just yet. But today, we're going to be covering a very strong deck that doesn't have any EX cards whatsoever. I'm Jed from inthirdperson.com. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about one of the best decks in the game that doesn't have any EX Pokemon. This one is oftentimes known as Blaine Box or Ninetales and Rapidash. And let's start with the attackers here. So we've got Ninetales, which has 90 HP, and for 2 fire energy, Flamethrower does 90 damage, and you have to discard a energy off of this Pokemon. So it's a really strong attacker. You're knocking out a lot of basics and stage 1s and doing some really serious damage to EX Pokemon. And where this gets even better is that we've got Blaine, where when you play this during your turn, you actually get an additional 30 damage on your attacks from Ninetales, Rapidash, and Magmar. We don't have Magmar in this deck, but that ends up pushing Ninetales' attack from 90 to 120, and then Rapidash's attack from 40 to 70. Both of those now hit new breakpoints that they wouldn't hit otherwise, and you're taking KOs when your opponent is not expecting them or not ready to react to those big KOs that they were not seeing. So Ninetales ends up becoming an incredibly scary attacker, especially against the big basic EX decks like a Pikachu. Like Ninetales plus a Blaine is going to one-shot a Pikachu EX, which oftentimes your opponent is not ready to deal with. So Ninetales, fantastic attacker here. And then Vulpix is kind of cool as well. It's only got 50 HP, which is scary, but its Tail Whip attack lets you flip a coin, and if heads, your opponent can't attack Vulpix on the following turn, giving you a little bit of a shield and more time to set up potentially as long as you hit heads. And then Ponyta has 60 HP, Flare does 20 damage for 1 fire energy. Sometimes that chip damage is nice, especially if you don't get knocked out on the following turn. And then Rapidash for only 1 energy, the fire main attack does 40 damage, and again that can get boosted to 70 with Blaine, but even with Giovanni doing 50 damage is going to be enough to knock out something like a Starmie or some of the other smaller basics. So Giovanni, great add to the deck as well. And then sort of the tertiary attacker here in this spot, I've seen some Vulpix and Rapidash decks not run anything in this spot. I personally like the Farfetch'd here, where it's got 60 HP and Leak Slap does 40 damage, one of the best single energy attacks in the game, and turn 1 going second can get you a lot of damage on the board while also probably being able to tank a hit as well. You could also put something like, you could put the Magmar in here if you want. You could also put something like Kangaskhan in here, where it's got much more HP and it can attack for only 1 energy. It can potentially attack for 60 damage on that first turn, but also could do 0. It's coin flip based, so I personally just like the consistent 60 or 40 damage with Farfetch'd. For trainer cards, it's a lot of the usual stuff here, besides Blaine, where we've already covered that, does the extra 30 damage. So we've got our XP to reduce retreat cost by 1, 2 Pokeballs to grab our basic Pokemon, 2 copies of Professor's Research to draw 2 cards, 2 copies of Giovanni to do an extra 10 damage on that turn, and then 1 copy of Sabrina in order to gust an opposing bench Pokemon into the active. So general game plan of this deck is get your Ninetales or your Rapidash online. I generally like to start with the Rapidash or the Farfetch'd while building up the Ninetales for that big swing, and then where possible, look for key spots where playing a Blaine or a Giovanni will get you that next damage breakpoint to take KOs when your opponent is not ready to recover. All right, let's check out these matches. Going first in this one, hopefully we've got ourselves a Ponyta. I do like that we get the turn 2, potentially the turn 2 Rapidash, but right now we don't have any evolution. Okay, we get the Professor's Research here. I'm going to play some Pokeballs first. I think there's a decent argument to be made about, do you play Pokeball first? Do you play Professor's Research first? I think if you want, I think there's an argument to be made to go either way, where you play Research and you could potentially draw into your Pokemon, but it's going to be random either way. If you want to narrow down if you want to narrow down if you want a better odds of getting the Pokemon you want, I guess you would play the research first and then Pokeball. I think if you want like more other types of cards, like you want less basics, then you would play the Pokeballs first and then play the research. And they go and land the first attack. Zap Kick for 20. Blitzel can be very annoying with its ability to snipe. And unfortunately, we don't have an evolution Pokemon here, so we're not really doing much damage at all here. Flare for only 20 does suck. But we do decide to keep the Blitzel in, and we're going to keep our Sabrina for potentially a more fruitful opportunity to Gust. They get their Zebstrika up, and now they can start sniping, but I don't know if they're going to want to do that. They could just keep punishing the active until we get something rolling. Right now, we're not particularly threatening. Oh, sorry for the bump on the desk here. Okay, we're back, and I still don't have an evolution Pokemon. What are we doing here? And now they can just very much snipe. I think I would go with the Vulpix and try and play for... Oh, okay. Yeah, just building up the Vulpix, and we're just going to keep swinging. I think there's the argument to be made about going in with the Vulpix and trying to get the 50% chance of blocking, but that only blocks the active, and then they can still attack the bench, and at this point, they probably would want to attack the Ponyta anyway with the 10 HP. So Zapdos is going to come in, a little bit of a lightning poke here, and they get the second energy on, which is horrifying for us, because if they get 3 energy on that Zapdos, they have the potential to one-hit KO. Now, that it's going to be on coin flips for their attacks, but I think they only need to flip 2 heads in order to knock out pretty much anything that we have. So, scary hours for sure right now. And we don't have an attacker set up. This is horrifying. So we go in with the Ponyta, try and protect the Ninetales, which is our big attacker here. And we get a Farfetch'd, and that's not great either. I think that, yeah, Farfetch'd is like good in the sense that it's going to do more damage than anything we have right now. The problem is that's very easily one-hit KO'd. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. We go with the Farfetch'd. Are we just going to do 40 into... No, we'll just do 50 into the Zapdos, which does not feel great. I'm not sure if doing 50 is a real game changer here. It does get... I mean, they were going to be in Ninetales range anyhow. Even if we just did 40, they would have had 90 HP left. But I guess it's going to be... Yeah, we probably should... They could heal. And maybe by playing the Giovanni, they're more likely to heal to get out of that range. So that could be a problem. Let's see how our opponent plays this, because they might also be scared of the potential Ninetales play next. Yeah, there's the heal. So maybe they wouldn't have played the healing had we not played the Giovanni there. So now we have to... I mean, luckily we have a second Giovanni if we can top deck a... Uh-oh. And they are going to play their Giovanni to do extra damage, but what are they damaging with? We've got 7 cards in our deck left. And I don't remember where this goes. Yeah, they're going to do... Oh, they left us alive. I think they were trying to get the KO and try and build up their other attackers, and that puts them in a bad spot. They did not take the KO. Farfetch'd survives the hit. Now, that's an easy snipe for them later, but in the immediate term, that opens the door for Ninetales with Giovanni swinging for 100 damage, now taking the one-hit KO on the Zapdos EX. So maybe it was worth playing the Giovanni earlier, because if they had healed while they only had, when we did the initial damage, like 190, they would have been out of range. But because we did the Giovanni earlier, they were still in range even after one heal. So we've got them in a great spot now. They have to go in with Pikachu and tank a hit in order to stay afloat in this matchup. And Unfortunately for them, unless they bench another 2-prizer to take a hit, they are in a world of trouble right now. Oh, they play the Sabrina, and that doesn't matter because we have the 2 cards that help us win this game with X-Speed and Sabrina. Again, we have to discard an energy each time we attack with Ninetales, so we have to put the next attachment onto Ninetales, which is totally fine. We end up... Oh, actually, we don't even have to play Sabrina here because we've got the Blaine in hand, and I would like to see myself play the Blaine here and just blast through this Pikachu for exactly 120 damage. Yes, we play the Blaine, and Blaine, like Ninetales being able to one-shot Pikachu EX is awesome. So we end up taking 4 prizes in this game against one of the best decks in the game. And yes, Pikachu has kind of slipped a little bit in the power rankings. It's still very much an S-tier deck, and depending on who you ask, it might be the 2nd best deck, it might be the 3rd best deck, but still, Pikachu's an awesome deck. I've been playing it of late, and I hope to make a video on it soon. And Pikachu's such a tough matchup for a lot of decks, and I'd say it can be tough for us as well. We started out so slowly, waiting for our attackers to get online, and I think we got partially bailed out, I will admit. Them playing the Giovanni, and they got really greedy. They didn't want to go to coin flips and attach 3 energy onto the Zapdos, and they ended up leaving the Farfetch'd alive, miscalculating how much damage was going to go down. But we still ended up, because of that, we were able to bring in the Ninetales that smashed for a gazillion trillion damage, taking 4 prizes on the Zapdos and the Pikachu for that win. GG's. We are going 2nd in this one, which is a much more advantageous position for us. Although the Ponyta going 2nd is not the worst. We end up going with Ponyta here. I could play the Vulpix and potentially Wall, and that might have been the better choice, but we are also not sure that we're going to get a Ninetales. I guess we're also not sure if we're going to get a Rapidash for that matter, so I end up going with the Ponyta here to start and potentially just get some chip damage in on this Mewtwo. Mewtwo is a tough matchup for almost every deck in the game. Pretty much the only deck that has an advantage against Mewtwo right now is Arbok Wheezing. So us, we have definitely some work to do here. We kind of have to be very careful in the way that we attack this deck and try and make all of our attacks count, because they do have 250 HP Pokemon. We aren't necessarily... Like, our damage is kind of conditional here. We have to kind of pick our spots and make sure we're swinging with the right attacker at the right time into the right target in order to maximize our damage here. So we've got a pretty decent start here. I'm not sure 2 Vulpix is necessarily the play, because you can't really set, like, you can't attack with a Vulpix and then have a 2nd Vulpix setting up in the background. So, I mean, I'd probably still put the 2nd Vulpix down, but, and it wouldn't necessarily be the worst fate. And we end up going with the Farfetch'd to start, where we can get in a nice 40 damage and probably get 80 damage in before they even get an attacker online here, because they're going to need 2 turns to manually attach to Mewtwo. They're not going to get Gardevoir up for another couple turns, so Farfetch'd could be amazing value for us here. And they're going to build the Mewtwo up on the bench. So, interesting choice. I don't hate that for them. Especially, and now just kind of switch to a strategy where you are using the other one to wall. And we're going to use this opportunity. That attachment we ended up putting on the Vulpix. We can get a Rapidash online in just 1 attachment. Vulpix is a little slower for 2. So, depending on where things go from here, we can just with 1 attachment get either attacker set up. So I think it was better to go with the Vulpix there. We can go and swing again for 40 into the Mewtwo, and now they're probably feeling the heat here, and they could try and X speed out, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to X speed out because they have to burn 2 of them at once. So it's going to be difficult for them to move that Mewtwo, especially if they burn their attachment on the one on the bench. So they end up just leaving it out there, and we get the Professor's Research here. And this could be kind of cool. There is a world where Ninetales comes in. We get a Rapidash. Now, I think the play is to go in with the Rapidash at this point, because they are... If they bring in the other Mewtwo, they have the opportunity to Oh, I could also just build up. There we go. That's a way of getting back-to-back Ninetales set up for big swings later. I could... Yeah, we probably weren't going to get the KO on this Mewtwo anyway. And they still need... They haven't gotten a Kirlia set up yet. And they need 2x speeds in order to get this Mewtwo out of here. So as long as we can keep stalling for time, as long as they keep giving us that swing, we might as well take it, right? So now they've got it up to 50. They are out of range, and we still don't have a Ninetales. I think now's the time to go into the Rapidash. We've got one of our Blaines, and we can punch into this Mewtwo, take 2 prizes, and potentially win off of a Sabrina on the following turn. And they will knock out this Rapidash on the following turn. Mewtwo is on the bench, is completely built up. But we do take 2 quick prizes. They're going to have to take 3 KOs here, and they still don't have a Kirlia online. They can take 1 KO here, but then they really need to get something built. So we'll see how they approach the rest of this match. It would be nice to get a Ninetales set up here. And yeah, they have no other Pokemon, so they're playing just straight up Mewtwo Gardevoir. No sort of the baby Mewtwo to stall for time or anything like that. And do they get the Kirlia up? They really need this Kirlia, or else they are in trouble. They get a Jinx in. There you go. So they already had the Jinx in hand, potentially as a backup attacker here. They burn 2 energy, and now we're in trouble. Do we go in? Yeah, okay. I am betting, and I guess there's 2 ways we get the Ninetales. That's fantastic. In a worst case scenario, we don't get the Ninetales there, and we can just hard retreat into the Farfetch and still have a decent attacker there. And that's fine. We can just go in Sabrina, and we one-hit KO anything on the bench. We probably could have gone toe-to-toe with the Mewtwo for a couple of turns, but I think we had the instant win condition right there. Just being able to switch in a single prize attacker that Ninetales is going to be able to one-hit KO and take that win. So, I mean, partially just us being able to, and we weren't necessarily quickly setting up either, but unfortunately for our opponent, they drew into so many cards and they could not find the Kirlias for the life of them, and we were able to just chip away at that Mewtwo and eventually just put them in a position where we could Sabrina any of their single prize targets to take the win at the end there. GG's. We are going first, which isn't necessarily... If we were able to go into turn 2 Rapidash, that would have been nice, but we start with just the Farfetch'd here, and that's, yeah, not necessarily what you want to start with here. And yeah, we can't attach energy either, but we'll go with the Farfetch for now. Farfetch can be helpful in some matchups, and maybe we'll get to see one here. Yeah, for the time being, I can't record these. I guess I could just like have the phone here, but you're not going to be able, we can't make eye contact. Mankey. This one's a fun This one's a fun one for Farfetch'd, because Mankey really wants to do its attack where Reckless Charge does 30 damage to you and then 10 damage to itself. But if the Mankey does 10 damage to itself, it now has 40 HP, and that's a one-shot for Farfetch. So this is actually the perfect scenario for Farfetch to be in. Now, they can't attack, and the funny thing is, they can choose to not attack here, and we can just attach with Farfetch, play the Giovanni that we have in our hand, and now we one-hit KO the Mankey. And at that point, they're going to have a very tough time recovering. So kind of funny how this is all playing out so far. Again, there are some... Oh, we get hand disrupted and we lose both our Giovannis here. And that's unfortunate, but maybe... Oh, there we go. We're fine. We're fine. And the Blaine, too. But, yeah, a pretty awesome coincidence here. We still... Yeah, we don't get anything. We can't attack with the Rapidash right now. But we can attack with the Farfetch, get an extra... extra damage here with the Giovanni, swing for 50, and our opponent's going to be in very bad shape for the rest of this match already. So loving that from me. Our opponent probably not liking that so much. Yeah, there are other sort of secondary attackers here. Like you could put in Magmar, which does get the benefit of Blaine, and it is a beefier attacker, but it's 2 energy, and I think there's a coin flip in there as well, so most people aren't using that. You could put in Kangaskhan in this spot, maybe even put in the Meowth to draw some cards, which I haven't seen as much, but I do think Meowth is a good card. And we go and power up Ponyta here, which I actually don't agree with. I would have put the energy on the Vulpix so that turn 2 you could go into Ninetales or Rapidash. And in this time, I actually chose not to attack them because if I attack them, we get them down to 10 HP. They potentially go into their Primeape with 100 HP and they swing for like 100 damage and then we're screwed. So instead, we've got the Rapidash online. We wait. We're playing a game of chicken here. We go and retreat with the X speed. And they're thinking, oh, they're only going to do 40 damage. Nope. Psych. We've got the Blaine. We're swinging for 70. Get out of here. GG's. So, loving that. Nice little showcase of 1, the Farfetch'd, and 2, the Blaine being able to be a real difference maker for this deck. Being able to punch higher with Rapidash and Ninetales makes for a big difference in the way that the match flows, and if your opponent's not expecting it or your opponent can't play around that, that can be catastrophic for them, because otherwise, like, your deck is pretty easy to set up, pretty consistent, low energy requirements, and then being able to punch higher than what they're expecting does catch people off guard. Even against the bigger EX decks, you can just out tempo them by being able to punch higher than what they're expecting. GG's. We are going first in this one, and we've only got the Farfetch'd to start, which is not necessarily the worst thing. I like Farfetch'd turn 1 going second, where you can get that early attack off. Going first is not so great. You have your very squishy glass cannon up first, and you kind of just chilling there. We're up against Mewtwo though, and Mewtwo is a bit slow to set up. And this is a tough matchup, but we'll do what we can to make it through. Unfortunately, we don't hit either the Ninetales or the Vulpix or the Ponyta here, which is not a great sign. Our opponents already got 2 Mewtwo's on the board, and they get their Ralts down. So that's great tempo for them. We have a lot of great support cards here, but we don't have any way to draw. So we get a Vulpix. That's a good start. Now, I could go for the 40, or I could bring in the Vulpix and try and go for a 50% chance that we can block whatever incoming attack is. I think I'd just go for the attack here. And we could even Sabrina to try and stall for time, force them to find either an X speed or put a Mewtwo in. So I'm deciding here what the best approach is. And maybe we just put in Farfetch'd to tank. And I think that's going to be the approach here. And so we're going to try and build up Ninetales and stall for time and force them to have an X speed in order to keep this moving here. Ninetales is an amazing attacker, but the fact that you have to keep reattaching energy after each attack is kind of bothersome. So it does kind of hurt your tempo, and you kind of need you can't follow up really a Ninetales with a Ninetales. You kind of have to have that single energy attacker, whether it is the Farfetch'd or the Ninetales ready to rock. Our opponent hits another Pokeball, and they put down another Ralts. And Mewtwo is a pretty... I mean, there sometimes people are running other stuff besides the Mewtwo and the Gardevoir package. I think Baby Mewtwo has become very popular of late. I personally have the... And we get a Ponyta. I still run Jinx and Meowth because I don't have a Baby Mewtwo at all. And this time we decide we're going in with the Ninetales, and we are going to swing big. And we could even play the Blaine here, and I choose not to. I think we're going to have to take a 2-shot here regardless, so we keep that in our back pocket. Maybe they play some healing items or something like that, or maybe if we don't play the Blaine now, they're less inclined to play the healing items. But we'll see. They do get Gardevoir online very quickly, like 3 turns, and you don't want to see that as the Ninetales. Well, you don't want to see that playing any deck, at which point it's going to be much harder. And now we have to switch our bench, and I think we just go in with the Farfetch'd so that we can tank this next hit. Sorry, I think I'm in the final throes of this whole coughing situation here. Let me go get a swig of water here while we're at it. We bring in a... Nope, yep. They bring in the fresh Mewtwo. That's really annoying because now they can... Oh, no, we brought in the Ponyta. Interesting choice. I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe it's so that I can attack with the Rapidash on the next turn. Because, yeah, I think I would have preferred... I think it would have been better to go with... I guess... Yeah. We do get another Ponyta, so it's kind of moot at this point. We do get a Rapidash, and we could go in for a big swing here as well. Yes. We are going in, and we're going to swing for 70 with Blaine, and that gets the Mewtwo. Both Mewtwo's are now in one-shot range of Ninetales. So, interesting to see where this goes. They get Curlia set up. And we do have to be mindful here is that double Gardevoir means you can accelerate one per Gardevoir. So you can get 2 energy with 2 different Gardevoirs. And we don't normally see that in playing this deck. You usually just get 1 Gardevoir set up and that's it. But it is possible to get 2 Gardevoirs set up. So we'll go and see if that ends up being a factor in this matchup. The Rapidash goes down, but we've got Ninetales here. Like, for the biggest swing... Which would be, it's nice, but I wish we had, I would have preferred to have Ninetales in this spot. I probably should have played research here first to see if we could get a Ninetales, or not a Ninetales, no, we don't hit it anyway, so yeah, this is what we have to go with. We do get a Blaine though, that's nice. So we take 2 prizes, we've got a 1 prize lead on our opponent, and like a Sabrina here would be amazing. And right now, they've only got 2 cards, and we could potentially win the game right here. But, no, Gardevoir. That's it. We would have won had they not gotten, or not had that Gardevoir there. Unfortunately, they get to accelerate 2 energy, and they will go blast our Ninetales for, not necessarily game, but, like, at this point, we're not going to be able to come back. We can swing at most, assuming we top deck I think we just scoop here, but like what I should have done. Yeah, we have to get, if we get Ninetales and we don't, or not Ninetales, if we got Rapidash and we played Blaine, we would have been 1 short and we would still lose. But like, that was still a good match. Even despite the loss, I think that we showed that we had a lot of firepower in our deck there, being able to go toe to toe with Mewtwo. And really it took them having 2 Gardevoirs set up in order to beat us, and that's normally not going to be the case. So Rapidash, Ninetales being able to go toe-to-toe with the best deck in the game is fantastic. And despite the loss, yeah, I'm still salty. I'm so salty watching that back, but that's okay. I thought that was a good showing of the deck, and we'll take our L and move on. GG's. We are going second here, and it looks like I did not record this one properly, and we don't have game sound. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. This keeps happening. I think every single video we've done so far, at least one of the matches does not have game sound. It's annoying recording on an iPhone. I'm never going to leave an iPhone. I'm just not. I've had one since it was my first smartphone since pretty much the beginning of smartphones. And I have too much stuff on the iOS ecosystem. I can't leave. Anyhow, so we are going second here, and we're playing a grass deck, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we're guaranteed to win here, because we are hitting for weakness, but we also are up against the Venusaur deck, and Venusaur is very powerful. Venusaur can one-shot everything in our deck while also healing. So we'll see where this ultimately goes. And we go with the Farfetch'd early just to get in the early 40 damage. I think that's, yeah, based on where things are right now, that's fine. We could have gotten 40 damage with the Ponyta as well, but we can't retreat to the Ponyta right now. So Farfetch'd here is fine, being able to put on some early game pressure. And we also get to keep our main attackers, Rapidash and Ninetales, protected on the bench in the immediate term while we set up. So we'll see where things go from here. I have actually started seeing this deck a little more and more online. I'm not sure if it's actually good. The Lilligant swings for I think 50 while also attaching energy to the bench. And I think they're going to leave this Petalil to get KO'd, an easy prize for us potentially here. And yep, that's what they're going to do. So we have our Rapidash, and I'm not sure we want to bring out the Rapidash, especially when Farfetch'd can tank the hit. And we end up going with the attachment to the Vulpix first, which again, I agree with, because Rapidash we can get set up in one turn. Vulpix, although we don't have the Ninetales right now, we could draw it in the next, and then we can get either attacker rolling with one attachment on the following turn. So they bring in their Lilligant, and they are, I mean, maybe they play a Giovanni here, and that would be kind of bad. They do get their Venusaur EX online, which does suck. Venusaur with 190 HP is very tanky, and even if we're hitting this thing for weakness, it's going to be a problem. So they are now swinging into this Farfetch. They can't one-shot it. And right now, for us to one-shot, we need a Ninetales. We don't get the Ninetales. We would need the Ninetales, and then we could play the Giovanni here. And we end up going with the Sabrina and force the Venusaur in, which is going to be incredibly difficult for our opponent to retreat into. And they don't get the opportunity to build up with the Lilligant while also not forcing us to draw 4 prizes. Now we can start chipping away at this Venusaur. It's going to be very hard for them to retreat Venusaur at this point. I mean, at this point, yeah, they could throw down on the next turn. They could burn a whole bunch of X speeds, but then they are going to be in trouble on that front too. So let's see how they're just going to have to sit here and take whatever damage is coming their way. Oh, and they Sabrina. That's a good move. And we could go in with the Farfetch. We're going to play the X speed anyway. Arguably, yeah, we play the X speed and get one of the other attackers in here. Playing Blaine is a very interesting option here. We'll do 70. It's not enough to one-hit KO, so maybe we play the Giovanni because we have it, and that could be kind of cool. We put the second energy on the Vulpix, still waiting for Ninetales, or we could just chip with the 40 and leave it at that. I do play the Giovanni just to squeeze in some extra damage here, so we'll get to 70, and that brings them down to 60 HP. They're going to need to heal twice in order to get actually multiple. I don't think they can. Actually, they do have Erica and stuff, so they could potentially get out of Ninetales one-hit KO range, but we are also sitting on Blaine in our back pocket, so we'll see how this goes. Thankfully, yeah, they heal 50. Oh my goodness. So if we can top deck a Ninetales here, we should get the one-hit KO. 90 plus 20 for weakness is 110. Oh, but they can't heal. They don't heal. They heal on the other one, but we also don't find the Ninetales, and we are in a little bit of an awkward spot here. I don't want to burn Blaine right now. I probably should play. Oh, we do burn Blaine. Okay. Putting a lot of pressure on our opponent here. I probably would have saved Blaine. Actually, that pushes them down to 20. And yes, they can heal. They're going to heal a bunch, but I don't know if they can heal enough to get out of range of a Ninetales, assuming we top deck. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they play 50, and then they're going to heal another 30 when they attack. Hopefully they don't have any more potions or anything. So yeah, they're able to hang on for dear life here. And maybe playing Blaine was the best, because if we didn't play the Blaine, if we played the Giovanni, they would still, they might have gotten themselves out of one-hit KO range. So we finally top decked the Ninetales, and we also have the Giovanni potentially for the extra damage. We don't need it here though. I might still play it for the flex. Admittedly, yeah, okay, there we go. And we're able to get the Ninetales online and swing for a fat 120 damage after weakness to take the win there. So despite the fact that our opponent was playing a deck that was weak against ours in terms of type advantage, they were still able to hang in there pretty strong. Venusaur is just a really big attacker, and we are, unfortunately, we're kind of squishy in our Pokemon there. Well, at least it's going to take them time to build up. But we were able to get some really big hits in, playing the Giovannis and the Blaines, so that even when they were healing a bunch with their Ericas and their potions, that we were still able to do enough damage onto that Venusaur to finally take it down. GG's. And there we go. That is a look at Box or Ninetales with Rapidash. It is a really fun deck to play, very consistent, and I love that it is a viable single prize deck in a meta that is dominated by multi-prize decks, giving you something that you can play as you're just starting out, and probably cards that you already have without having to stress too much about opening dozens and dozens of packs, still trying to get those EX Pokemon. Like, I've been playing this game for every day for like a month, and I've opened a ton of packs, and I'm still missing a whole bunch of Pokemon. Like, I don't have any Arcanine EX. I'm still short one Starmie EX. I'm still short a Wigglytuff. I haven't even pulled. I've only got one Weezing, and I don't have the, like, I don't even have, I think I have the special one and not even the regular one. So it can be really difficult to get the cards that you need to build decks, even just the more basic ones. But odds are you're gonna get 2 Ninetales, 2 Rapidash pretty quickly, and from there you can build a really solid deck that can go up against the best of the best. But for now, I gotta get going. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know, what's your favorite deck in Pokemon TCG Pocket right now? And one of the cool things, and while we're here, one of the cool things that has happened of late is the rise of the no EX meta, where you can set up a private lobby, type in no EX, and odds are you're gonna run into an opponent that is also not playing EX Pokemon. So we're starting to see the community kind of rally around a format without EX Pokemon, and we're even seeing tournaments being played without EX Pokemon, where Ninetales Rapidash is one of the most popular decks in that format, and there are some other decks as well. Maybe we'll cover some other no EX decks and cover that format specifically, and that could give us more opportunities to talk about this game and showcase some other strong decks. But for now, I gotta get going. Thank you so much for watching. You can find me on all the things: YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at @InThirdPerson. You can find me on Twitch, where we stream the Pokemon trading card game every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And check out the website inthirdperson.com for more articles and videos on video games, board games, and other nerdy pursuits. So until the next one, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.